Breaking news. The 2025 NFL Draft is over, and now it's time for what may be the most exciting hidden story of the offseason, the Denver Broncos' undrafted free agent signings. And if history tells us anything, it's that these names need to be paid attention to. The Broncos have built a legendary tradition of finding undrafted gems. Think Chris Harris Jr., Rod Smith, Philip Lindsay, and it seems like every year a new UDFA emerges and earns a roster spot. Man, I really believe the Broncos will make it to the Super Bowl this year. If you believe so, hit that like button hard. If possible, comment something like, "Go Broncos, let's go to the Super Bowl." Right off the bat, the biggest name among the Broncos UDFAs is Klay Webb, a point guard from Jacksonville State. This isn't just a random signing. Klay Webb was ranked the second best interior offensive lineman among all UDFAs, according to NFL.com's Chad Reuter. His journey is fascinating. He started his college career at Powerhouse, Georgia as a highly sought-after five-star recruit, but never quite cracked the roster. A fresh start at Jacksonville State changed everything. There, Webb became a 3-year starter and earned first-team All-Conference USA honors in 2024. He's a massive 6'4", 310-pound player, and despite being a bit older at 25, he brings maturity and potential to a Broncos offensive line that could definitely use some depth, especially with Ben Powers entering a contract year and the center still feeling shaky. Don't be surprised if Klay Webb really pushes for a spot on the 53-man roster, much like Frank Crum did last year. Moving along, linebacker J.B. Brown from Kansas is another name you need to have on your radar. Brown's path saw him starting at Bowling Green before transferring to Kansas, where he broke out with 74 tackles and 5 sacks his senior year. He earned an honorable mention All-Big 12 selection and showed real pop in his game. With Denver's linebacker core always in flux beyond the starters, a strong camp from J.B. Brown could carve him a place on the roster, or at least on special teams. At wide receiver, the Broncos added Courtney Jackson from Arkansas State. Originally at Syracuse, Jackson transferred to Arkansas State to shine with 689 yards and a team-leading 7 touchdowns in 2024. He was a top 70 wide receiver prospect coming out of high school, according to ESPN. While Jackson didn't fully realize his potential at the Power 5 level, his talent is undeniable, and Denver has a long history of developing WRs from unexpected places. With depth questions at the back end of the receiver room, Jackson could sneak onto the radar quickly. Then there's Jaden Robinson, a cornerback from Oregon State. Robinson is a bit more of a long shot. Despite being ranked the number 18 corner among UDFAs by Reuter, he finished college with no interceptions and modest production overall. Still, Robinson's age and experience could make him a candidate for the practice squad, and as we know, anything can happen from there. Just ask Chris Harris Jr. Another intriguing pickup is Jawan Newton, a wide receiver from Toledo. Newton is an experienced, savvy player who became Toledo's all-time leader in touchdown receptions, 32, and earned 3 All-MAC honors during his college career. At 6'0", 200 pounds, and armed with a mechanical engineering degree, he's smart, tough, and capable of learning a complex NFL playbook quickly. Newton could become a sneaky threat in the preseason. Offensive line depth was clearly a priority for Denver, as they also signed Marquez Cox from Kentucky. Cox started a jaw-dropping 59 games over his college career between Northern Illinois and Kentucky. Though not the most highly ranked UDFA lineman, his sheer experience and versatility are massive assets for a Broncos O-line that desperately needs reliable depth. And speaking of massive, Denver brought in Xavier Truss from Georgia, another former teammate of Klay Webb. Truss started 23 games at right tackle, 16 at left guard, 2 at right guard, and even 1 at left tackle for the Bulldogs. He's huge. We're talking size 18 shoes, and his versatility could be a secret weapon. If you want to keep a close eye on someone during training camp, Xavier Truss should be on your shortlist. Kendall Bowler, a cornerback from Florida A-Day NDM, joins the fray too. At 5'10.5" and 194 pounds, Bowler had 33 tackles and 1 interception last season. Cornerback depth is always a question, and with Damari Mathis's performance being inconsistent at times, Bowler could find an opening if he impresses. Another wide receiver to watch is Walken Davis from North Carolina Central. Davis caught 31 passes for 490 yards and 4 touchdowns last season. Ranked number 7 among UDFA wideouts by Chad Reuter, Davis could be a dark horse to steal a roster spot, especially if injuries hit during the preseason. On the offensive line again, Joe Maholsty from Oklahoma State deserves mention.
He was named the Big 12 Offensive Lineman of the Year in 2023. That's no small honor, and for a UDFA, it's massive. Though slightly undersized for NFL standards at under 300 pounds, his accolades alone should earn him a serious look during training camp. Christian Dow from UT Martin, a 6 feet 2 inches, 320-pound offensive lineman, also joins the group. While not as highly touted, every piece of depth matters when you're building a full 90-man roster for training camp, and Dow will have his shot. One of the more exciting defensive additions is linebacker Kareem Reed from Utah. Reed was a two-time second-team All-Pac-12 selection, racking up 54 tackles and 6 tackles for loss in 2024. With his background, leadership qualities, and tackling ability, he could push for a backup linebacker role or thrive on special teams. And finally, there's Johnny Walker Jr., an edge rusher out of Missouri. Walker could be the most exciting UDFA addition, tallying 9.5 sacks last year and earning second-team All-SEC honors. While the Broncos' edge group is tough to break into, a guy who led a major SEC program in sacks and tackles for loss has to be taken seriously. That's the full roundup of the 2025 Broncos UDFA class so far. From Klay Webb to Johnny Walker Jr., Denver once again shows why they're elite at finding diamonds in the rough. Now, I want to know, which UDFA do you think has the best shot to make the final 53-man roster? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Should we continue and dive deeper into who has the best path to stick around once camp battles heat up? The excitement doesn't stop there, Broncos country, because now it's time to dig deeper into which of these undrafted free agents might have the clearest and most realistic path to making the Denver Broncos 53-man roster once the intense battles of training camp begin. As always, we know that every year there's at least one UDFA who refuses to be overlooked, who pushes through the competition, and who wins a spot on the team, and based on what we're seeing, a few names truly stand out above the rest. First up, Klay Webb. Look, it's almost impossible not to circle his name first. Not only does Webb have an elite pedigree as a former 5-star recruit, but his age, experience, and first-team All-Conference USA performance at Jacksonville State show that he's matured into a true professional. When you consider Denver's interior offensive line situation, with Ben Powers in a contract year and depth behind him looking thin, Webb's combination of power, technique, and versatility could make him not just a practice squad candidate but an active contributor on game days. Webb's main competition likely comes from veterans and younger players like Luke Wattenberg, but don't be shocked if Webb outright beats someone for a backup spot. Xavier Truss is another strong contender. His versatility across the offensive line is rare. He's played both tackle and guard, started at multiple spots at Georgia, and brings massive size to the table. His flexibility could allow Sean Payton and the coaching staff to keep one fewer lineman active on game day by using Truss as a true sixth man on the offensive front. Given Mike McGlinchey's struggles with injuries and Ben Powers' future uncertainty, having someone like Truss stashed and ready could be huge. Now, one important thing to remember, Broncos fans, Sean Payton has historically shown a lot of willingness to give UDFAs a real shot, not just to fill out the back of the roster, but to actively compete for meaningful roles. Payton believes in competition, and this UDFA class has multiple guys who could push veterans out if they don't bring their A game in August.